all in all, with all the challenges, there's a lot of positives in 2024 that we can really say, okay, you know what? Yes, it was a tough year, but like you said, we got through it. We still standing. We here, we
But
here.
did you die?
But did you die? Like, what were some of the challenges?
Oh gosh, dude.
Without, if you can obviously share as much as you want, but
I need a box of Twin Saver to tell
you
you.
Sure,
the
Twin Savers,
challenges.
nothing stronger.
No, like toilet roll.
Hey guys, Courtnall Skosan here, and welcome to Skosan Unplugged.
I told her mom that I was soon. Knew as a child back in the womb. Oh, told her step back, I need my room. Hop in the car.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome to each and every one of you. I wish you guys a happy 2025. I'm joined by a very special guest today, one of my favorite people on this earth. My best friend, wifey, Semone. It's an exciting episode for me. I don't even know how this is gonna go, but I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Courtnall Skosan.
So we're reflecting on 2024, of course, sharing a bit of our goals in 2025 as well. And then diving into topics like, parenthood and stuff like that. We'll see, obviously, what we get to. This is literally going to be an unscripted one. I've got a bit of a guideline here. And I didn't show you the questions before the time. So you didn't have time to prep, which gives you a lot of anxiety. So, I hope, obviously, you're going to be honest, authentic. We'll keep it light. We'll keep it fun. But yeah, I want you to enjoy this. Just chill. It's like me and you sitting literally in our lounge on a couch.
We literally in our lounge.
Yeah. So that's kind of the vibe that we're going for this one. So yeah, let's jump in.
Into
the interview.
Okay, so interview me.
Not an interview, conversation. But yeah, I'm gonna start with something light, something normal, like just how are you? Like, how are you doing? I don't think we asked that question to each other enough.
I'm okay.
So I wanted to ask you, like, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
What does that mean? Because there's certain words when it comes to, like,
I'm okay, I'm fine.
Yeah. So when you ask a woman, are you okay? And she's like, I'm fine.
Not fine.
Is
Losing
it that?
her shit.
Is it
like,
a I'm okay?
Literally.
Is it a I'm fine? You can elaborate
About
a
to
little bit.
bold.
How are you on the, the 4th of Jan?
4th of Jan.
2025, how are you doing?
It's warm. It's been a good morning. Mm-hmm. I'm okay. I slept well, I think.
What made the morning so good?
You were nice, man. You were like so on the ball with everything. Like
With what now? Like in what sense?
getting up and... Okay, no, actually I did everything. I'm lying.
As per usual.
As per usual. No, you would. It was a nice morning, so I feel like... So I'm okay, and I feel rested, and I feel hungry a little bit.
I think one thing that I've noticed the last week or so, like you've been sleeping really well. Or well, I think you're sleeping well. You say you're sleeping light, but you've gone to bed at like 9 o'clock and then wake up at like 7 o'clock in the morning. So that's like 9-10 hours every night for like the last week. Whereas with me, I'm sitting up till 12 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock, maybe 1 o'clock at night, and then I'm up at 6 or 7. So I only have like 5 or 6 hours. So I must say, like when you're saying you feel rested, I feel like it's because your sleeping pattern is obviously, that's now us being a little bit weird, but your sleeping pattern is obviously on another level at the last week or so.
I'm rested. Not taking a nap during the days. That means I'm actually sleeping well at night.
No, I agree. So obviously, I wanted to start off this whole thing with, you started recently watching episodes or watching podcasts because you were never into it. Let's just pause. In and out, boy. I said if you're inside, you must stay inside. Are you going to stay outside?
What's going on?
Close the door, please. Hey, this dude. Okay, so the way I want to start the whole conversation, besides asking you like how you're doing, is you recently started getting into podcasts. I don't know if I inspired that or what. Like I'm obviously deep into the whole thing. I've got a lot of podcasts that I watch. I wanted you to share on what your favorite podcast is, and also what is the most recent one that you watched.
The pressure, you can't do that now.
What?
Like
No,
I started watching your podcast and I realized it's nice to listen to certain conversations when you're gymming or cooking or I'm into obviously fitness and health and wellness journey. I can't give you the name of the podcast because I don't pay attention like that.
Yeah.
But those are kind of the things that I listen to and I find very interesting. And it's nice when you out and about and doing your thing and you can still listen to something.
Yeah. So I listened to something recently. I know I didn't discuss this with you. Maybe I touched on it, but
You probably did.
I
Like,
probably did,
yeah.
yeah. But I listened to a podcast that Simon Sinek and Trevor Noah did recently. And I think the thing, they talked about talking about having conversations that make your brain hurt. So Simon Sinek is obviously like hectic into that stuff. He's like a very smart, intelligent person, and he talks about some good leadership stuff. He's got a lot of knowledge, and obviously we know Trevor Noah. He's always been funny, but also very intelligent when it comes to that. He's very smart. And they had a conversation, and they talked about small talk. Now I know I'm a person that loves small talk. You're not really into the whole small talk
I can
thing.
talk.
No, I know you can talk, but you don't necessarily meet someone
you
and
talk.
start small talk.
Yeah.
I would meet someone
No.
anyway, and I would just start chatting, and he said something interesting because Simon said that the two of them, they don't like doing small talk, they just do big talk. So when they sit down, they just have like big conversations.
Yeah.
And Trevor said he read a book and then recently got into the whole small talk vibe, because he says, basically in a nutshell, he shared about how having small talk allows you to find relatability with someone and then allows you to have the big conversation. So let's say, for instance, I walk into a room, and this is the example he used, and he talks about the weather. And I'm like, it's hot today, eh? And you're like, yeah, it's just very hot. Like, it's been bad weather this year. All of a sudden, we connect on that level. And now I'm like, okay, but who did you vote for? So it's kind of like, so he says, it's obviously an extreme example, but the way he explained it, and I think it's very important. And how he says that also, another part in the conversation, they talked about how having difficult conversations actually strengthens relationships, especially with people around you, like friends and family and stuff like that. And how I feel a lot of people try not to have difficult conversations because they're scared of offending or breaking the relationship, when in actual fact it's okay for us to disagree. Now we're in a marriage, so obviously it's okay for us to disagree, but also get to know each other better and understand that, okay, you feel like this, I feel like that. And I wanted to ask you on that, like, how do you feel on that specific thing of having difficult conversations?
I'm happy to have difficult conversations. I just don't feel like everyone is willing to have a difficult conversation, because they either are people that avoid conflict, can't deal with it, struggle dealing with it, are not mature for it. It's different for different people, but I prefer having a difficult conversation so you know where you stand with someone. So
I feel the same. I feel like, a lot of people are not, obviously, they're not geared for that, that most people just want to have fun and light conversations. And I get that, we've got a lot going on. We've got
that's
enough
tiring
going on.
though.
But I mean, you know how it goes, my love. Like, we've got a lot going on. You don't always want to be deep, but I do believe that there's certain things that you have to address sometimes. You have to talk about it. And I do believe that it does strengthen your relationship, because you're clear. You know exactly where you stand with that person. I mean, I take, for example, when we moved to England, like how we started talking about certain things that we never talked about before. And how...
What were we talking about? Let's just have a moment for what we were talking about.
We don't want to get into too much detail, but you know how our communication went up when we went to England.
I can't blush now.
No, man. But you know what I'm talking about when it comes to that. And I do believe that, I mean, we saw it in our relationship, like it strengthens your relationship.
It helps, but it's tough. It's tough to have any conversation, and you need to have that conversation with the person that's willing to have the conversation. If I catch you on a bad day and I want to have a conversation, a certain type of conversation, you might not receive it or respond the way I expect you to.
Yeah.
So that is also the difficult thing, is the timing of that conversation.
I think that's actually a very good point. Like having that timing. That timing is everything, especially with us. Like,
I think we get our timing a little bit better now. Like, we know when to have a conversation and when to just like take it back. Just be like, give you grace until we're ready to have a conversation.
Because, I mean, you always say it, when I walk in the door, you can see, not today.
Yeah, no.
And I'm sometimes different with that. Like, I want to get my point across, so I want to have that conversation now. But it's good that you're saying, like, like the whole timing thing. We've realized that, especially last year, we realized that timing is really everything with conversations and stuff like that, because we went through a lot of
Yeah.
challenges last year, and we'll get into that. But you know, like it's timing is
It's
everything.
funny hearing it last year because you still feel like you're in the year. Like,
It does feel like we were just talking now, and I was talking to Aaron outside as well, and he's like, it still feels like
Yeah.
it's December. It's
Yeah.
not Jan yet, you know. So I'm getting mixed up with the days still. Like I don't know it's Saturday or Friday or Monday. Like I'm still getting confused. It's kind of like that festive vibe, but I mean we're out of it now. We're getting back into the swing of things. I'm sure by next week or the week after when school starts, you know, we'll be
when
in
school starts, it will be.
we'll be in full swing again.
Yeah.
We'll be in full swing again. So on 2024, let's talk a little bit about that. Like, what has been some of the biggest highlights for you, for us, from your end in 2024?
2024 was, I feel, the year I could say now, like, but did you die? Like, it was a tough year. But the highlights for me was being able to experience Cape Town and seeing some of the most beautiful parts of it and having a lot more time with you around. Like, we did sports day and you were there more for the athletics than I was, and usually I'm the one that does that. School concerts, you were there, whereas usually I'm there alone.
Yeah.
Birthdays, anniversaries, you were there. I did ask God. I'm like, God, give me more time with my husband. I feel like maybe he gave me a little bit too much time.
We don't always understand how God will bring that when we ask these
Let's
questions.
take it back a little bit more this year, though. Like, yeah.
No, that's it. I mean, I agree with you. We had a lot of time, and I think that was one of the stuff when I started thinking about 2024. Like, we've had a lot of time with the kids. They're getting into sport now. So it's nice for me to see that development, be involved in that, you know, like they're in that phase now where we want to make Dada proud.
Not
I feel
cool
like,
anymore.
so Mama's now, you know, not sporty enough for them, although Mama gyms every day. You know, Mama's not sporty enough. They want to see the father. They want to see me there more. And I feel like we had that opportunity, or I had that opportunity to do that last year. I think another thing that was a massive highlight for me is we came back from England and I wanted to be closer to God again. Like I didn't feel like I was as connected as I could be. And that's one thing that definitely stepped up. You know, I had my encounter, I had my moment with God, and I feel like I'm back on track.
Also
I don't
finding a
feel-
church.
That was a
Yeah.
massive part of it. Like finding the right church, like
Yeah.
finding good people, you know, like God's heart, like just understanding and listening to God's heart, and like, you know, just receiving His word and like feeling that love. I think that was important for me to start walking with someone as well, that I can kind of like bounce ideas off of,
Yeah.
or kind of just share, like, you know, unashamed with, you know, like, because sometimes it's not about doing hectic stuff, it's just that you kind of just drifting, and you don't want to be drifting and floating, especially when I feel like I've got a call on my life. So
Yes.
I don't want to walk from under that grace, you know. I don't want to be just drifting along and just existing. I want to be doing stuff for God. So I feel like that was a massive thing for me for 2024. Another thing for me was you were super busy last year. Like, so you had a lot of stuff, like
Yes.
a lot of business, a lot of work. And that
It's
for
also
me
the
was...
stuff I prayed for. I was like, God. And then it was too much. But I was also like, I need to be grateful because this is exactly what I asked for.
100%. I mean, you
So-
know what I tell you all the time. I always tell you, you asked for this.
Yeah.
You asked
I know,
for
it's
work.
terrible, though.
And now you're sitting
Hearing
up
that
at
is
10 or 11
terrible.
o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And you're like, Courtnall, it's too much. And I'm like, but you asked for work.
Yeah.
And God is giving you work, you know. So I think that was a massive thing in 2024 because it really like set you up like properly, you
Yeah.
know. And I think now going into 2025, hopefully that's kind of the trend, and that God will continue to open doors and bless you in that regard. So for me, that was like some of the stuff, you know, so like family time, spending time with the kids, seeing you grow in, you know, your field and what you're
Oh, thank
doing.
you.
Although 2024 came with a lot of challenges, you know, I think
Yeah.
there was a lot of blessings. I mean, being able to visit my mother, being able to see my family, although not as much as I would love to, you know, like it's there's a lot of positives in last year. But then obviously on that now, like what were some of the challenges?
Oh,
when
gosh, dude.
Without, if you can obviously share as much as you want, but
I need a box of Twin Saver to tell
Are you
you
sure
the
Twin
challenges.
Saver is nothing stronger?
No, like toilet roll. Challenges, I would say, is the phase the kids went through coming here and having adjusted, because obviously we had lived apart for 8 months before I moved to Cape Town.
Yeah.
So I feel like them adjusting to having dad around and like really tough love from dad and the discipline, where I was just trying to keep my kids happy. So I said yes to everything, whereas dad now would be like, no, it's not happening. So seeing them go through that phase of learning and the tantrums and all the other little things that they now develop as they grow, I think that was a little bit tough for me as a mom,
Yeah.
because I'm a crier. So
Yeah.
for everything that happened that was like tough, I would cry. Like CJ going to the hospital with you the other day after bumping his eye open, that was tough for me, because I'm like, Lord, I was not ready for that.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else was really challenging, but I feel like the kids itself was a challenge this year for me. Yeah.
Look, for me, I think that was the most challenging thing. But on top of that, like 2024, firstly, you know, I came to Cape Town, came to come and play rugby.
For rugby.
You know, and I feel like obviously I haven't played enough.
Yep.
Which, you know, hopefully that's something that changes very quickly in 2025. That's really a prayer that I've got very dear to my heart. But on top of that, moving here, obviously we know why we had the move and why I only came myself first, because it was only a 1-year deal initially. And it's difficult. We just came back from England, and being there for 2 years, the kids started calling England home.
Yeah.
Just settle in. And that's the nature of the game, nature of the beast.
Yeah.
Rugby just takes you everywhere, which for a long time we didn't experience, because I was fortunate enough to be at the Lions for almost 8 years.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like almost a decade is basically most of your life. And all of a sudden, we're in England for 2 years, and then having to relocate back to Joburg, and then having to relocate to Cape Town. It was just too much going on for the kids. But had we known that it would have such a big effect, we probably would have just bitten the bullet and just move all together. And if we had to move again, we would have moved. But, you know, all things considered, it worked out. But that was, I think, for me, the toughest thing about 2024 was going home every day and not having you guys there. You know, like, you always say,
You were
oh,
living
like,
your best life,
that's
dude.
what you think. Like, and
Like poker every other night.
no, but I'm telling you this. And
Takeaways.
nah, I didn't eat takeaways.
You did not
ate.
cook. No, you ate takeaways. It was like Chinese
My love,
every day.
prawn fried rice is not takeaways.
That's the life.
No, it was good food.
Takeaway every day, sitting and watching Netflix.
No.
No noise, no chaos, no bar time, no school pickup, no school drop.
That's what you
That
think, but I think
was-
that's what made it so tough, is because you had to do so much of the stuff that I would usually, you know, take away from what you do usually. So like doing school pickups, doing drops,
Look,
doing
we
sports,
share the
we share the
responsibility.
stuff, and I mean that's what the whole thing about having family and having connection and having everyone under the same roof. We fill each other's gaps when it comes to stuff like that. So sometimes you're a little bit softer, I'm harder on the kids. Sometimes you're a little bit harder, and I'm like, baby, that's a bit too much. You know, like, and we don't always like those conversations, but I mean, that's how family operates, and that's how it works. So I missed that element of coming home. Like, I didn't know what to do with myself. Yeah, I was playing a few games, but now not playing a lot. And my family is not here. And I was in Joburg every other weekend, not budget friendly.
Yes.
You know, I mean, booking flights 2-3
was
times a
tiring.
month.
It was
You know,
exhausting.
you're at the airport almost every weekend. You know, it was a lot of stuff that went into it. And I think that for me was like, sure, like, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what I thought my life would be. Although I know rugby
It was
is
an
a
idea.
very, you know, up and down thing, and it does move you around a lot. But that was like, sure, like, I was like, God, like, no, this is not the way I want to do things. Then obviously we had the opportunity, renegotiated, signed, and then you guys moved down, you know. So that for me was like another highlight, was March when you guys came. You know, the house was ready. There was a few snacks on the beds, and the beds
You
were
were
made.
really
and
cute,
you know, we didn't
though.
have all the furniture. I
I
was
wish
still
there
waiting
was
for the
like
furniture.
every day or every other day
But
that you would like
I
think
was
of
like,
us like that.
it's like when you go to a hotel
really
and you
cute.
get there and they're like, welcome, Simone.
I know.
I gave you
bought
guys the
all
whole
stuff I don't eat, but it was really
100%.
cute though.
But I mean, that's just for me a small thing to show like how much it meant for me to have you guys here and be in Cape Town. You know, it was for my mother to see the kids.
Yes.
You know, like you know, with my mother's situation, it's special for her to have that relationship and the kids to know, you know, who their grandmother is. You know, because they don't see Grandma Skosan. My father passed on 2019, so Carla never met him.
Yes.
You know, so it's obviously special for me to have that connection and have that stuff. So all in all, with all the challenges, there's a lot of positives in 2024 that we can really say, okay, you know what? Yes, it was a tough year, but like you said, we got through it. You know, like still standing. We
Yeah.
we
But did you die?
but did you die? So I think that was kind of like the
Yeah.
theme for both of us when we go and when we think about going through 2024.
Are you crying?
No.
Okay, looks like
No,
you're
no,
crying.
I'm not. I don't cry.
I saw
cry
your eyes
about.
like glittering at me
No,
for a
it's just
second.
because
there.
you
Okay.
are so beautiful. I'm not saying. So let's move on to 2025. Like what's the one, or you cannot say one thing, but what are you excited about when it comes to 2025? I know it's only the 4th of Jan now. I don't set goals. I don't put out stuff. I've got a similar mantra when we think about going into a new season or a new year, but I do have a lot of big hopes for 2025. But what are those things like? What are you excited about?
I'm excited about learning from 2024 and knowing what we're going into 2025
Yeah.
with. So I feel like I've learned some of my mistakes the hard way. I've learned what it's like to not be as disciplined and what the result of that is. So just being better in 2025. I can't really tell you what I'm excited about because I don't know what God has in store.
So for me, thinking on 2025 and what I'm excited about is, there's a lot of opportunities, that we're
Yeah.
looking forward to, but that's more to the latter stage of the year. But obviously we're dipping ourselves more into like growing and building business and all of that kind of stuff, which is now off the field activity. So obviously that's
Completely forgot about
2025 for me is like, I feel like that's a massive thing, and that's something that I really want to focus on and, gear my energy towards and
Yeah.
really like be sensitive and listen to God's voice when it comes to that, because you know how it goes. Like, if we don't do stuff with God, we might as well not do anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, He will always direct our footsteps. So I'm really digging in and praying and asking God to show us what it is exactly what He wants, what He wants for us, what He wants us to do and how He wants us to do that stuff as well. I think
Yeah.
that's the main thing. And then, like you said earlier,
And the timing of
the
that.
timing,
Yeah.
like I think the timing is the massive thing. Like, is it really the right time to do it now, or should
Yeah.
we wait another year, or should we? But it's the year of action now. For me, I feel like
Yes.
2025 is the year of action. We need to step and go into, like, in faith, just go and say, listen, I'm not scared anymore.
Yeah, in faith.
Let's just do this thing, Like, while I'm still playing rugby, I'm allowed to build businesses off the field. I'm
Yes.
allowed to do stuff or grow businesses off the field. It's not like we haven't been doing anything, but, we're allowed to do that, and we need to allow ourselves more to do that. So I feel like 2025, when it comes to that, it's a massive thing. And then being so busy, I think a lot of the times, me, I'm 100% or not at all guy.
You're 110% or not at
Or,
all.
so I get obsessed with something when I do it. So 2025, like it's about being more present. So
Yeah.
yes, I need to work, be busy,
I
do
love
all of the
that.
stuff, but I want to be in the moment as
Yeah.
well. So I don't know if you noticed the last few days, the office is set up now. So my phone is in the
You
office.
must know now my mental
So-
notes there. I'll go in.
No,
like-
I want you to make the
Okay.
notes. So my phone is in the office, so that when I come downstairs, I'm downstairs.
Yeah.
When I'm here with the kids, when I'm playing, when I'm going outside, when I'm doing stuff, I need to be more present
Yeah.
in those moments. So
It's important.
So 2025, I feel like, because we're gonna be even busier. So once
Mm-hmm.
we start doing the stuff that we want to do, it's even busier.
Yeah.
When I start booking guests 1 week after the other, it's going to be even busier.
Yeah.
That's going to be after hours. That's after I train. That's after I do the stuff that I need to do. I still need to do the things that we want to do, that we want to build off the
Yeah.
field as well. So I feel like that's really
Balance.
that's really a big thing for that. But I'm excited about that,
Yeah.
because being excited about building stuff, you need to get excited about the stuff that's going to be difficult as well. That's you need to actively work on and make time
Yeah.
for. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then for the podcast, like I think people have kind of gotten a little bit of a taste of what it is that the vision is for this thing, and it will still take time to develop. And I know that, because it's not as different, but it is a little bit different from what the other guys are doing or other people are doing out there. And I can't wait for the day that people fully see the whole thing play out, because there's a lot of plans, but everything takes time. It's like you have to go from one phase to the other phase to the other phase, and we're kind of in that growth phase now, introduction
Building.
phase.
Yeah.
And I mean, you saw with the commies episode, like that was, we didn't expect that episode to do like that. It was, what is it, like 15, 16,000 views almost. That's why I always say, like the guys don't understand when they come on what it does, for the vision to grow. And that's why I'm so intentional with saying thank you, thank you for availing yourself. Thank you for making time, because it allows a vision that's way bigger than me and way bigger than the guest that comes on, and it's just special to see that when you have people that are aligned, that, can have deep, light, funny, good-hearted conversations, and what that can do.
But also just having real conversation, and
100%.
also allowing someone to hear your story. And I feel like God has always given us platforms to share something, and it might not be for 10,000 people or millions of people, but if there's one person and there was one sentence that you shared in an entire hour interview or podcast episode that changed someone's life, then you've done God's work.
I mean, I think about Yaku's episode, like what he shared on there was, people don't know that stuff, and for me, the main thing is that it's just that, like, understanding who you're dealing with, like, like people are sometimes, we get insensitive when we get, like, but it's not insensitive, it's because people don't know. Like, if I don't know who Semone is to her core, or, like what ticks her, like what's difficult things she's gone through, like, like, because I have that relationship with you, I know that, so I know how to talk to you, I know how to approach you, I know when you're celebrating a milestone, what that actually means to you, so, and I feel like because we're in a world where, not a sheltered world, but we're in a world where we never really get to fully expose who we are, because it might be taken as weakness.
I feel like it's a very filtered world we stay in.
That's exactly that. That's the best word to use.
People want to show everyone this filtered version of themselves, this aesthetic version of themselves, and not be real. Now, I'm not saying you need to show someone that you're going through vulnerable moments in your life, because I feel like in a way you need to protect that.
Yes, of course.
And you need to understand what needs to be on social media and what doesn't need to be on social media. But being positive and unfiltered is still a way to change people's lives. And I feel like a lot of people don't even allow themselves to be vulnerable because they've got this filter that they live through constantly, which is sad.
And it's not, and on that as well, I don't think it's a whole thing of come and just share your load. It's not about that. It's about you go through things in life that God takes you through and get you to the other side of. This is a testimony. This is something that can inspire someone that's struggling with that difficult thing now. To see that, but if God did it for that person, He can do it for me as well. And that is what I want people to change their minds around. It's not about when I'm going through the most, everyone must know and feel sorry for me. It's about, I've gone through this, I've gotten through it, and I'm still dealing with it, but I'm better for it, or I'm in a better place now. So let me share this with people so that maybe it can inspire the next person. Because when we think about walking with God and we think about having faith and all of that, God tells us to go out. We have to go out and inspire people. We have to go out and share the gospel, share the good news. Now, if I've gone through something difficult and I've gotten to the other side of it, is that not good news? It's something that I should be proud, or, confident, or, celebratory when it comes to me talking about it, because I thought that thing was going to finish me. And I got to the other side of it, and that's obviously now 2025 that I'm also very excited about. And, and then while we're on 2025, what can we do better? Like, as a couple, as parents, as individuals, what do you think we can do better in 2025?
What have I learned from 2024 that I can be better with in 2025? So reacting to certain situations or certain challenges we faced, and how we can be better in those challenges in 2025, I feel like would be something that I would be able to deal with better.
Yeah, so I'm going to be open, and obviously I know you thinking now, like, what must I, but for me it's like, I think communication, especially when we're stressed. So 2024 was one of the first years I started understanding what stress actually looks. No, actually it's not the first time. 2022 when I had shingles, that was the first time I realized that stress can actually affect your body. And that was weird for me. I never stressed, because I'm in a high pressure, high stress environment all the time. But this was stuff outside of the sport. It was outside stuff. And I've always gone through stuff, but it was the first time I could realize that. So for me, I feel like how we communicate when there's a lot of stress or when there's like tense moments, like stuff that's going on in our lives. I feel like that's something that I can do better in 2025, and I feel like that will make everything a lot better, especially like with addressing the kids. If I'm in a high stress pressure environment, I get home, sometimes my patience are very thin, but I need to be able to navigate those things so that by the time they go to bed, I can deal with my thing again. I can figure myself out, but I cannot load that onto them, because you know how it goes. They start feeling that stress.
They feel it.
They start projecting. They start doing funky things, and you're like, yeah, but we don't teach
Where
these
does this
ladies
come
to do
from?
these things. Where is this coming from?
Meanwhile.
Meanwhile, we pushing that onto them because of our stress. So I feel like that is a massive thing for me for 2025. And then I posted on New Year's Day, and I said, Happy New Year's to everyone. And I said, my simple prayer is for God to just protect our family, you know, for health, for wealth, you know, and for me to understand who's for me and who's against me. And I think that is a massive thing for me, like, because I've realized and I've noticed that sometimes people try and be your bra. They try and be close to you to get information because they want to see you fail. They want to see, and this is not about, oh, hate is this and hate is that. I'm talking about genuine stuff now. I'm talking about real things. People like seeing, some people like seeing when you're struggling, like seeing when you, and I kind of got to this place where, and I told you this last year, where it was easy for me to just talk about like, yo, stuff, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, all of that. And I started feeling like, yo, man, like, you know, like, what is this? Like, people must feel sorry for you now. Like, you're not that
Bible
guy.
talks about guarding your heart, though, for a reason.
100%.
Like, you have to protect your heart. And I feel like I've said it over and over 1,000 times, and then you always, like, forget almost. And then you make the mistake, and you're like, oh, snap, I'm supposed to guard my heart.
Yeah.
You know, because everything flows from it. And you only realize that when you're in that moment of having not guarded your heart, and whatever's flowing is really ugly.
Yeah.
And then you're like, snap, I didn't guard my heart.
100%.
You know?
100%.
So it's a constant thing of...
So I feel like that's a big thing. So that's a good theme to use for that whole thing, is to say, communicate better, especially in stress environments, because the stresses of life will always come. And then obviously guarding my heart, understanding like who's for me, who's against me, and where I can be a little bit more vulnerable, and where I should just be like, you know what, I'm sorry, we're not doing this today, you know.
Just vulnerable with me. I'm the vulnerable.
The safe space. But I need, and you know, you need those safe spaces and understanding like where it's important for you to say what and do what, you know, like, and it's not about, it's not about not being yourself. It's just about protecting you and yours, you know. And I think that for me is a massive thing, and that's why the overarching prayer for 2025 is for God to just protect us and just elevate us to where He wants us to go, because that's always been the focus, you know. But it's just more intentionally praying about that, you know. I feel like that's a massive thing.
I feel like this year I have very little patience to deal with crap. Do you know what I mean? Like unnecessary nonsense that I really don't have to deal with. And I feel like that's what grew within me in 2024, was that I became a little bit mature in that I actually don't have to deal with you, and it's fine. I can walk away and keep quiet and protect my peace, protect my heart, and just leave it at that. I don't need to prove to you or have a say or show you anything. It's literally just like, stay in your lane, do you, and it's gonna be fine. Like,
just on that, actually, I'm just thinking now, like 2024 as well. Another good thing that happened in 2024 was I really met amazing people. I met some people that really have golden hearts, like that. Sure, like I was like, whoa, I didn't think these people exist.
And from
like,
where?
From what I've been through for the last 4 or 5 years, I didn't think that I would be able to meet people that are so amazing. Genuinely just have a heart for people, genuinely just want to share knowledge, genuinely just want to share love, you know, on you. And I'm really grateful for that, and I wish and pray to meet more of those type of people, because it's the type of person I am. And I do feel like you meet the people that you know, like the whole thing, soort soek soort, you know, like, and that's kind of like where I'm getting to with this. Like, it's like, it might seem like, yo, you guys had a tough year. Yeah, we did have a tough year, but there's some good stuff that happened, you know. Okay, so before we switch gears and talk a little bit about, like, we've been touching on it the whole time, and talk a little bit about parenting and stuff like that. which I feel like would be interesting. There's a question that people sometimes ask you when we're out, and you always get uncomfortable with it, and you're like, Courtnall, I don't know, I wanna ask the question just to clear it up,
Can I skip the question?
You can say, listen, I can skip the question or whatever the case may be, but what does Semone Skosan do for a living?
Stop it! Oh my soul! I hate when people ask me that. I've always been this person, like, I don't know what I'm good at. I suck at everything. I don't have a gift. I can't play rugby. When I met you, I couldn't cook. I couldn't do anything.
No,
I could not do
Master Chef.
anything. Okay, stop. I literally could not do anything, and I felt like I was the only person on earth that God did not give a gift to. And when I
Nice.
realized, after all the years of going through corporate, going through the police service, going through everything, and I was able to build something out of nothing, and it is successful today, I'm like, I know what God gave me. He gave me perseverance. He gave me creativity, and He allowed me to be able to balance all of it so that you guys don't actually see. Like the other day, Carlin brought home this artwork that he had made at school, and on it was like a bunch of questions he had to answer, and one of the questions was, what do your parents do for a living? And according to Carlin, mommy makes pancakes for a living, and dad does gym work.
Okay.
And that's when I realized that I'm doing the right thing, because I'm able to allow him to see that side of me and still work hard and build a successful business and still be there for my family. And that's who they see me as. And I will make pancakes for a living. It's fine.
100%. That I hopefully can continue to gym.
And you continue to gym.
I wanted to shift a little bit to like the parenting stuff, but like just quickly, like just swift over it, and because we've been talking about it the whole time. But what is the one parenting moment this year that you are like, this stands out? Like,
I feel like CJ took a little bit of time to adjust to Cape Town, to adjust to the school, the teacher, all of that. So we saw it as a challenge. But the dude excelled in everything. Academics, the awards that he got for maths, and everything that he did was just excellent. And I feel like that was something that was very special. Yeah.
I think just on that as well, Carlin also, the way he developed in his motor skills, like catching a ball, jumping, holding his balance, running. He's getting active now, he's getting sporty, and that was all by just doing, the life skills type of stuff that they do at school, like the active, like physical stuff that they do, and that was cool to see.
Just understanding though, Colin would walk
and
fall over his own feet.
100%.
So for him to be doing what he does now,
it's like in a year that he just went to from 1 to like 0 to 100.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that stands out for me as well with parenting stuff is our nighttime routine.
Yes.
So like getting the kids to bed and all of that kind of stuff. We kind of used to be 9 o'clock, everyone needs to be in their rooms, and by 10 o'clock everyone must be sleeping. But then we'd send them to bed with like a phone, and they're watching YouTube Kids, and it's all of this kind of stuff. And then we started realizing, but we're not actually monitoring what they're watching before they sleep, and then they wake up in the wee hours of the morning screaming, having bad dreams and all that stuff. So we kind of like simplified it and brought it back to like a 7 o'clock bath, 7:30 in bed, 8 o'clock. By 8 o'clock they're out, their lights out. But now recently also like started praying with them, doing prayer time at night before they sleep. So teaching them to pray, and understanding that when you get to bed and you pray, it's now time to sleep and it's time to go to bed. But you're thanking God for all the good stuff, you're praying for
and
the
they
next
would not
day.
sleep until you've
Until
done
they
it.
pray.
They will stay awake.
At night, they're like, we need to pray before we go to bed. And then now adding the Bible. So we started reading Genesis, starting with 2 chapters a day. We're reading the Bible. They're asking questions about the Bible. So I think like the whole routine of getting them to bed and letting them ask questions and instilling those values that we want to see in them, you know. And actually what it does, it's a creative way for us to spend time with them as well before they go to bed. Because sometimes you have such a busy day that you're just like, come, you must get done, get to bed. But now they look forward to that 30 to 60 minutes at night when it's prayer time, when it's Bible time, and they want their hug and their kiss before bed, like we used to do the stuff, but just like quickly, but sharp, gaan slaap nou,
Yeah.
nighttime.
Yeah.
But I feel like that for me is a big parenting moment for us because it was something that we struggled with a lot. Like Colin would walk in our room at 2 o'clock in the morning, oh, I can't sleep. And now they're sleeping right through, you know, everything's done. And if they can sleep through, we can get the quality of sleep. So
Yes.
we can be better the next day. So I think that was a massive thing for me when
It's
it
a
comes
win.
to like parenting. Like I feel like that's a massive thing. One thing I want to add to the parenting and like couple stuff is, you know, I do think like we need to find ways for us to have more date nights. I feel
Lord.
so I feel like
Yes, please.
I feel like that's a massive thing, and I
Yeah.
think 2025, you know, I feel like there must
Being
be
intentional about it,
more
yeah.
concerted efforts
Yes.
towards that because we keep talking about it. When we do it, we're like, yo, this is amazing. We need to do it more.
Yeah.
And then another month goes by and we didn't have a date night, or a month
Yeah,
and
but
a
so
half goes by.
often you find yourself not having support or when you need it in that specific time. And the first thing to do is either cancel every single plan you've made or take the kids with.
Yeah.
And as much as it's nice to be a family unit and have everyone together and do stuff outside the house together, it's still not the same quality conversation you would have if the
Yeah.
kids were not there.
Yeah.
A lot of the deep conversations we have are when we're alone, either in bed or when we're driving to pick up the kids from school or have a morning coffee or leaving the gym or whatever the case might be. But it's quality conversation that's like for a few minutes a day. Whereas if you actually dedicate this time every now and then I feel like it is a little bit more intentional to have that quality conversation.
Yeah. No, I agree. You know, and that's where we are at. You know, 2024, a lot of challenges, amazing year altogether with that as well. We're in the beginning of 2025 now. Really looking forward to the year. You know, thank you for busy mama, busy wifey, busy businesswoman, making yourself
Thank you,
available
Dad.
for this. You know, I think it's nice for us to have these conversations. You know, we have a lot of conversations off air, offline, you know, and people might think and look at this like, why would you do an episode with your wife, you know? But I think it's just, it's nice for me to sit down with you and have this conversation, and hopefully we can have more, you know, going in the future, you know, if it is something, you know, that we feel like, you know what, it's something that we want to do more often. I feel like we can do that. But I just want to say thank you. I know 2025 is going to be an amazing year for us. And, you know, I hope that you guys watching as well, you know, enjoyed this episode, and, you know, let us know what your favorite part of it was. You know, let us know what thoughts you have down in the comments. If you have some parenting things that you want to share with us, some tips and tricks. Remember, we're still learning as well. You know, some tips and tricks that we can use as well with our kids. You know, they're a big part of our lives. So we just want to thank you for staying tuned until this time now. Happy 2025. We'll see you guys on the next one. That's it.
That's
Done. Lekker say, huh?